It's Sunday, which means it's recap time here on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast. The theme this week was how much car can you afford in retirement? In case you missed any of the episodes, I went through a process to think through when you're buying a new car, and some of the things are not new, but maybe new to you. Some of the things to think about, some of the things to consider, how that decision might shift in retirement and how priorities can impact the kind of car you get, how much money you spend, how you finance that, etc. So I talked first about we want to understand the current car market because that really helps you to get a feel for what are prices like, what are incentives that are being offered by dealers, how does that influence the decision that you might make. And then I talked about narrowing down your options. You might be considering new and used cars, and I talked about some of the trade-offs with each, especially for when you're in retirement. And then I talked about weighing cash versus financing versus leasing and some of the considerations there to kind of help you further narrow down the options. And then lastly, we looked at affordability in more detail. What are some parameters, rules you want to keep in mind if you're going to pay cash versus the same kind of rules of thumb you want to keep in mind if you're going to finance or lease a car to not overpay, to not overspend. And I would say the biggest takeaway from this week is something that I touched on yesterday. Financial security, maintaining your investment portfolio, keeping that growing and intact is much better. That's the goal. That's the overarching goal. We want to prioritize that over having a fancy brand new car. But we want to own something that's modest and reliable. So we have to kind of thread the needle in between. What is a good quality car that's going to get me from point A to point B without breaking down, that serves my needs and the utility and the things that I use it for? And how can I ensure that that car isn't going to compromise my financial security over the long term? And in the long run, when it comes to cars, the thing to always keep in mind is it is almost certainty that you're going to pay a lot more for cars over the long run if you decide to finance or lease a car. It's simply because you're going to pay interest on that. The leasing is basically renting the car. You don't have anything that you get to keep at the end of it versus paying cash. You're likely to pay less, make a more modest decision too if you're handing over your hard-earned cash and writing that check for a car. I've done that myself. It is very painful. It certainly makes you think twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times about ensuring that you have the right car and you're not overpaying. All right, so tomorrow I'm starting a brand new theme. I'm going to talk about the third quarter. We just wrapped up the third quarter. It's crazy. Every year I'm like, man, the year goes by so fast. The days are long, but the years are short. That's, the thing you hear all the time when you have kids. But it's true for investing. It's true for life in general as well. So here we are. We're in the last quarter of the year. I'm going to talk about what's been going on in markets, bond markets, stock markets, what's been going on in the economy. So we'll recap all of that. And then we'll look ahead to what is sure to be an interesting fourth quarter with the Fed now starting to lower rates. We have I don't know if you've heard of this, but we have a presidential election coming up. So there's just a lot going on. Thank you so much for listening this week. If you are enjoying the podcast, please share the show. Send it to somebody you know who is also getting close to retirement. It's very easy to text or email the link to someone you know. Be sure to subscribe or add it to your follow if you haven't already done that. And if you're interested in learning more about working with me, you can check out my website, truenorthra.com. You can actually schedule a call with me, 15 minutes, talk about anything you want regarding retirement. You can view my availability, schedule a call with yours truly at a time that works for you. No cost and no strings attached. All right. Thank you so much for sharing the love and spreading the word. I hope you have a blessed Sunday. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.